And just a friendly reminder, if you are looking for science-based powerlifting programming, look no further than the Team Roar training app. You can find the link to it in the episode description and also get 25% off of your first month using discount code all capital PL Ballads podcast. Happy training. And before we do get into the episode, we do want to just say that we had a few audio issues. So if you find a couple spots in the episode that do not sound very well or very clear or they're cutting out, we do apologize. But we hope you enjoyed the episode.
Welcome to episode 215. How are you, Josh?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Stupendous.
Stupendous. Fantastic. No, really, I'm good. It's nice. Life is
Awesome.
good.
Living the Cali life.
Living the Cali life. I gotta say, I kind of like it. There's just a lot of things to do when the weather is amazing all the time.
Sounds great. It's been raining like every other day here. It's like
I know.
brutally hot one day and like thunderstorm the next day. So
Right, which makes the
pick your
best
poison.
of the humidity situation.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's no humidity here. Although it got to be like 107 degrees the other day, and 107 degrees really feels like you're just standing in a hair dryer. I mean, it's dry heat, but it's still really hot.
Yeah. It's still 107.
Yeah, it's still 107. We didn't eat outside that day, but when it's 95, you can comfortably eat outside because it's just not that hot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, living the dream. And July 4th is coming up. We got a long weekend. We're going to try to summit a 10,000 footer, and we'll let you know how that goes.
Summit a 10,000 footer.
Yes,
Explain it to
mountain.
me like I'm a 2-year-old and don't
Um,
understand. What does that
so
mean?
there's a national park nearby. It's called the Lassen Volcanic National Park, and there's four volcanoes you can actually climb to the top of. And we did one a couple weeks ago, which was pretty amazing, except it was like walking up a giant sand dune. Like it was like walking in deep sand. It was kind of like a workout for a good bit. Um, and this weekend, we're going to try to summit one that has snow on it still in July. Um,
Nice.
so we're going to be putting on some crampons, we think, um,
Some
if the
what?
snow's still there. Crampons. So there are things that attach to your boots that have like ice,
Ah,
you know,
like heck,
spikes.
spike. Yeah, spikes.
Yeah, right. And walking up the side of the mountain with trekking poles. And I guess at the bottom of the mountain, uh, when we start, it's going to be a different temperature than later. So you have to totally wear layers and such. And it's not a super long walk, but you get a pretty good elevation change in that 2.5 miles. So it'll be interesting. We'll
Yeah,
see if we're ready for anything bigger after this.
cool. And where are you in California right now?
We are up in Redding right now, which is pretty far north. It's like if you know where Eureka is at all, it's on the coast. Eureka's on the coast. If you go straight over to the east, into the Sacramento River Valley, that's where we are.
Got it. So you're north.
Yeah, so we're north,
I,
almost Oregon.
I know where San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco are. That's about it.
We're not near any of that.
I also know where Oakland is.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
Sacramento. We're kind of,
I don't really know where that is.
yeah, exactly. But we're that's the closest big city.
Got it.
So
Okay.
we're surrounded by mountains and it's amazing. Super
Yeah, that's
pretty.
cool.
It's not what I would think of as California at all,
Yeah.
but it's awesome.
Awesome.
So anyway, Raw Nationals was this weekend. We
It
had seven
was.
lifters, and how'd everyone do?
Well, I would say everybody did pretty decent. I'd say we didn't do quite as well as we were hoping in some areas. But everybody did the best they had that day, and that's, I guess, all we can ask as coaches. So, going down the list, Michael Palmer, he went 7 for 9 and placed sixth in the 90 kilo Masters two. Um, he had a 7.5 kilo bench PR, and his third pull was uh, was 10 kilos over his second pull, and it would have been for fifth place, but we just didn't quite have it that day. Gwen Cook went 8 for 9. She finished third in the Masters 2 75 kilo class, and she had a 2.5 kilo PR squat, tied her PR bench, and a 2.5 kilo PR deadlift. which ended up being a 7.5 kilo PR total, which also broke the state record total by 2.5 kilos. So we've been
Nice.
chasing that for a little while, and she put together a pretty good meet with some to spare too. So she had some left in her squat and some left in her deadlift. So that was kind of cool. So we'll see what she does at her next one, but for now we checked that box. We were chasing that state record total for a while.
Nice.
Kevin Cregan went 8 for 9, placed second in the Masters 200 kilo class. He had a 5 kilo PR squat. And so there was a three-way battle in this weight class, and there was one guy that had a real big squat, real big bench, and kind of a low deadlift that ended up winning. But we had the last deadlift, so we were just kind of sitting back waiting for to see what everybody else did. Well, the because we had the last deadlift, we just made sure we were always in second place after the each attempt, and then waited to see what everybody else did. Well, the guy that was in first missed his third, which kind of opened a door for us to kind of throw a Hail Mary and maybe throw on something big to try to pull for the win if the other guy that we were competing against missed, and the other guy ended up missing. So we went from 245 to 275, which is a 30 kilo jump because he already guaranteed second, and
Mm.
didn't quite didn't quite get it. But as soon as it was loaded, I looked at the board. I'm like, that's not the number that I was supposed to turn in because he was the heavier body weight. So the coach, myself, actually turned in the weight. We were the very last deadlifter, and I've talked about this having no excuse multiple times to do
Mm.
this, and of course it happened. But basically, we turned in a number that would have tied and lost on body weight. So even if he would have got it, he would have got second, which was a huge mistake. And the worst part is, I did the math ahead of time, and in my head, I knew 277.5 was the number, but somehow I wrote 275, and I did it at the beginning of the flight. So there was no like panic math or anything like that. And I
Yeah,
wrote it on the
right.
card and put it in my pocket. So the entire third flight, it's in my pocket, ready to turn in if both of them miss. So I didn't look at it again because I was not under pressure doing the math, anything like that. And even in my head, I knew 277.5 was the number, but somehow I wrote 275. So I guess the takeaway here is always double check even at the last minute, just to make sure you didn't make a mistake, because never in a million years would I have. I don't even know how that happened. I don't know if somebody else happened to say
Mm.
275 right as I was writing it, and
Right.
that's what I wrote instead. But I did the math correctly in my head. I just wrote the wrong number, and then was so confident in what I wrote
Mm.
that it was wrong, and didn't check it. But
Right.
I did tell Kevin, I go, hey, I don't know how to say this, but I've never been happier to see you miss. because because the reality is, if he would, because I told him this was for the win, and he goes out, and if he would have pulled
Oh,
it, it would have been a monster PR, like, I don't know, 15 kilo PR or something. And yeah, how do you explain
right.
to
Oh,
your
sorry. You
lifter,
just
like, yeah,
pulled a
you
PR and
you
you still
pulled,
lost.
yeah. So,
Mm.
no harm, no foul, I guess, but that was definitely an eye opener. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, what's I think is a little bit interesting is that you could totally have not told anyone this story. You could have just kept this between you and Kevin. But
well, even
you're
Kevin wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have told him.
right, right. Yeah.
But this is just one of those things that just bothers me so bad that this happened.
Mm.
And if somebody else would have done it, I would have been all over them, for making such a stupid mistake. So I gotta be all over myself for making such a stupid mistake, I
Mm.
guess. But
Well, there you
at
go.
the end of the day, it didn't matter. But still, it's just there's no excuse for that. And yeah, and
Do
the, and
better.
the worst part is, like, I did the math correctly, like, because the
Uh,
number in my head I knew. So as soon as they called the number and called it loaded, like, and I heard it, I'm like, that's not the right number. But then I'm like, wait, that is what I wrote though. Now that I think about it, but I knew in my head that wasn't the right number.
oh,
So it's just one of those stupid,
yeah.
just I don't know, whatever oversights or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. I don't even know what happened. I don't know how that
Oh,
happened.
Forgive yourself, learn from it, move on.
Yeah, well, it's public, not public, going to be public now, so
Everybody
everybody
can bash
knows.
you.
Right, exactly, and they should. It
Oh my
was
gosh.
it was
All right,
stupid.
get off the cross. All right, we're gonna move
Yeah, yeah.
on.
Okay.
Olivia.
Olivia, yeah, she went 6 for 9 and placed seventh in the Open. It wasn't one of her best days. We kind of had some, just things not go real well, and things didn't feel good warming up. So we got to kind of go back and look at how her training went and some of those things. But the coming in, her qualifying total was 490, I believe, or 487, 490, I think. Anyway, her PR total is 502 and a half. 485 ended up winning, which was, almost 15 kilos under her best total, but she ended up with a 467.5. Just things just didn't just weren't clicking, so we got to kind of look at what we did training wise
Mm,
and kind of figure out what went wrong there. But so yeah, I know she's pretty disappointed in that. I understand. I've been there. So all we can do is learn from it, figure out what went wrong, and move on from there.
yeah.
Elaine Ostrander, she went 5 for 9. However, she ended up bombing in the bench. She hit a 2.5 kilo PR squat, 2.5 kilo PR deadlift, but her opening bench she forgot to pause, and it looked super easy. So we went up 5 kilos, which was still 2.5 kilos under her PR. We just thought there was no way she would miss that, but sure enough, she missed it twice. So long story short, it's not a great idea to go up after a miss, which we preach all the time. But in this case, we did it anyway. Thought we were being smart, but it ended up, you know, causing her to bomb out. So
Yeah.
that's another coaching mistake there. Um, and then Cindy Yeager, she went 6 for 9, placed fifth in the Masters 200 kilo class. And then Alicia Webb went 6 for 9. She placed first in the Masters 200 kilo and eighth in the 100 kilo Open. So at the end of the day, everybody always posts like their percentage of attempts made and everything. And this was under our normal. We made 46 out of 63 attempts, which is only 73%, which is really not that great as a whole. But the only thing I will say here is there were three opening attempts that were missed that we came back and got. So they were just little technicalities. And then there were also four lifters that for their third deadlift we put on what we needed to move up in placings, and all four ended up missing. So those were a little bit more calculated risks, I guess, but we
Mm,
knew that's what we needed to move up. So I think everybody could have got their third attempt deadlifts had we just put on a number we thought they could do for sure, but
right.
that didn't help us in the placing. So we elected to go ahead and go up anyway.
Right.
But that's how it goes. That's why you show up to the meet because um, you can shoulda, woulda, coulda all you want from your couch, but you got to show up and be in the arena. So I'm proud of everybody. Everybody did put their best effort forward. That's all I can all I can say there is I'm really proud of everybody and how they handled themselves, and you know we get better
Yeah.
from here.
Yeah. It's awesome. And it was in Atlanta. So that was nice for you. So you didn't have to lose sleep in your own bed.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
How often does that happen? Ever.
not very often. It was pretty laid back too. I don't know if laid back's the word, but like every session we only had one lifter except for Sunday morning we had two. So it was very easy is not the word, but just like not
Mm.
chaotic. Like
Right.
sometimes when you
Right.
have like five lifters in the same session that are equipped, it gets pretty rough. We had one lifter in the session that was raw, so
Right.
it was pretty manageable.
Yeah. Nice. And the NGB happened as well, right?
It
When the
did.
elections, Polly Steinman got elected as the president of USA Powerlifting,
Yep, he becomes the seventh president ever of USA Powerlifting. So congrats to him.
right? Or sorry,
Or
yeah,
sorry, yeah, whichever.
yeah, just seems like such a tangled can of worms. I don't think I want to do it myself, but there you go. And then we have new people on the EC that are coming in. We have Eric Cordero. I always say Cordero. It's Cordero.
Cordero, yeah, he was the
Cordero.
incumbent, so he got reelected for a second term.
Nice. And Katie Dodge and Wes Zunker. So super qualified people around in powerlifting for a long time. So
Yep.
that'll be great. There were some honorary awards that happened, and Eric Cordero also got the Brother Bennett Award.
Yeah, that's
So,
like the most prestigious award you can win in USA powerlifting. So congrats to him. I think it's well deserved, and he does a lot for the organization and drug-free powerlifting as a whole. So perfect example of somebody that represents the values of the organization. So
right. And he
happy for
always
him.
participates in our music lists on this podcast. So
Yeah, warms my heart.
it does. It warms my heart. So go you. And then referee of the year was Katie Dodge. Well
Whoop whoop.
deserved, right? Team Roar, woohoo. All right, it's really just Katie being awesome, but yeah, she's awesome, and I always love to see her lift too. So
Yeah, she's intense when she lifts.
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Female athlete of the year. I'm gonna butcher her name because I butcher everyone's name. May Angeli Sagul.
I think that's right. I actually
No
don't know for
way.
sure, but that's how I've heard other people pronounce it. So I assume that's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she
Right.
was actually the Pro Series champion in the open division 2 years running. So she won in 2023 and 2024, and she was actually second best lifter at Raw Nationals this year. She got beat by like a half a dots point or something like that this year, but for multiple years she's been pretty much at the top, and nobody could touch her. So definitely well deserving of this award.
Nice. Male athlete of the year was Ray Bowering,
Yep, yeah, well deserving there too.
and coach of the year was Jill Arno.
Jill. Yep. Yeah, I think those are all deserving people, and I think that's all I have to say about that. So, I guess we didn't announce the athletes reps because I actually can't remember who was elected, and they haven't posted the results online yet. So, uh, some of these were not announced yet either, but I remembered them, and I feel bad because I didn't remember the athletes reps. I know Nicole Thompson was reelected, but there were two others, and I can't remember who they were. So that's terrible reporting on my part, but that should be not a surprise to anybody listening.
Nice. There you go. And there was a lot of prize money that was given away at Raw Nationals, so that's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, there was. So, just kind of going down through the top five, because the top five best lifters in the Masters division and Open division got bonuses, and then the weight class winners of all the open weight classes got 1,000. So, starting with the women's Masters, the top five, Jennifer Thompson had a 552 dots. Evie Lambs had a 533. Alicia Webb had a 478. Deborah Mazzullo had a 475, and Rachel Prados had a 471. So 1, 2, 3 was really close. I know that was something we were watching because Lee lifted in prime time on Sunday, so she was the very last Masters lifter to go. So if you happen to go back and watch that live stream, we saw we took a really big jump from her opener to her second, and that was to just edge out Deborah for third best Masters lifter, and then from there we took another 10 kilo jump to move on to the podium, but it just wasn't quite there. So that's why we did what we did there. On the Masters men's side, first place was Ron Garofalo with a 546 age adjusted dots, David Brown with a 530, Dwayne Madiri with a 508, William Waller with a 487, and Lee Wells with the 482. So those are your prize money winners for the Masters division.
It's awesome. And in the open women, Christine Hazard got a 564 dots. And she was first in her 65. So I'm seeing on our little spreadsheet here 6,000 and 1,000. So it means she got a total of 7,000 that she walked away with.
Yep.
Awesome. Man, can you imagine just that's a nice payday in one
Yeah,
day.
it is. That
So
should that
May,
should cover your flight and hotel.
yeah, kind of, and then some. So um, that's awesome. May Anjali Sagul got a 563 dots and walked away with $5,000 in prize money. She got first in the 60 kilo class. Margaret Nikase, probably butchered that with a 551. Walked away with 3,500 total in the money. Um, she was first in the 82.5. Kate Cohen had a 548 dots, total up with $2,500, first in the 48 kilo class. And Evie Lambs had a 533, walked away with $1,000, and she was second in the 65 kilo class. Open men, Jaden Lau had a 572 dots, walked away with $7,000. First in the 82 kilo class, Michael Miller had 564 dots with $4,000. He was second in the 82 and a half kilo class. Lorenzo Wright had a 548 dots with 3,500 in total prize money. He was first in the 100 kilo class. David Sampson had a 470, I'm sorry, 547, mixing up numbers. Walked away with $1,500 in cash money. He was second in the 100 kilo class. And then we had Peter Hoang with a 541 dots, had $2,000 in prize money, and was first in the 75 kilo class.
Yeah, and what's crazy looking at this, the best two lifters of the entire meet were in the same weight class for the men. So the second best lifter prize money went to somebody that didn't even win their weight class, which is crazy, right? That
Wow.
class was stacked. And then the same thing for the 100 kilo class. The third and fourth best overall lifter of the entire meet were both in the 100 kilo class. So pretty crazy.
Yeah, right.
So the pro cards that were given out, they were how it works. The masters get pro cards for the top 15 overall age adjusted dots on the men and women's side, as long as they hit the minimum age adjusted dots. Women it's 400, men it's 425. So there were 15 masters pro cards for both men and women given out. On the women's side, there were actually 43 lifters that hit the minimum age adjusted dots, but only 15 of them won pro cards because they were only the top 15 get it. And then on the men's masters side, there were actually 50 lifters that hit the minimum 425 age adjusted, but only 15 of those earned their pro card. On the open women's side, there were 24 pro cards given out. 35 of them hit the minimum dots, but you also have to place top three in your weight class plus hit that minimum dots. So there were 36 potential pro cards there, but only 24 actually earned it because they were top three and did not hit the minimum dots, or they hit the minimum dots but were not top three in their weight class. So that's why there was only 24 there. And then same thing kind of for the men. There were 23 pro cards given out. 42 lifters hit the minimum 500 dots, but only 23 earned their pro card. So congratulations to all the new pro card holders. Um, oh, this is all, I'll mention this. Like everybody's like, because since there's not a pro finals this year, everybody's like, well, what are the perks of having a pro card? Well, there are a few that I noticed this weekend. One, they had like a pro lounge set up where if you have your pro card, it's like there's just like it's just a literally like a lounge, like almost like a Delta lounge at the airport, with like stocked with like snacks, energy drinks, things like that that they can take for free. But just like a couch, the big TV to watch the lifting and stuff like that. But also at check-in, there's a separate, almost like what is it at the airport? Like Clear or what is the other one
USA.
called? TSA pre-check. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
they have a pro card check-in or a pro what is it called? They have a pro check-in line, which is like it's like a fast pass at an amusement park. You just cut to the front to check in if you have a pro card. So that's a pretty cool perk. Um, but yeah, anyway.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, and why isn't there a pro series?
So the main reason there's no Pro Series this year is kind of twofold. One, it's the first year of the IDFPA World Championships, so I think that the goal is to encourage lifters to compete there. But also, in the last couple of years, there hasn't been a real solid budget put together. And with our new treasurer this year, Joy Black, she's kind of tightening the belt a little bit to kind of, make sure we're reined in and not spending more than we're bringing in. And, I think it's this is kind of a, you know, trim everything and make sure that everything is hunky dory before we decide to do any more. But I will say, just that the national meets, for example, there's more prize money given out at nationals this year than there was in previous years. So instead of a standalone pro finals, there's going to be a little bit more money at the national meets. You know, and hopefully that helps fund some of those top lifters to get to the world championships too.
Right. Good deal. Yeah, I'm just excited that people are getting money,
Yeah.
when they win, because that's amazing. That's how it should be.
Yeah, to get to that level, like it takes a lot of sacrifice to be that top tier, and yeah, I think it's a nice it doesn't probably probably it doesn't pay for all your efforts necessarily, but it definitely is a
Right.
nice little perk.
If you get an invite to South Korea, then that prize money helps you get there, right?
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Yep.
yeah. So, sweet.
Sweet.
Yep.
Well, I think that's all I have. I mean, we do have Equip Nationals coming up next month up in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania.
Ah, okay.
So that'll be at the end of July.
Valley Forge.
Yep.
Okay. It's like a tourist mecca.
Is it? I've never been.
I've never been to Valley Forge either. I mean, what didn't Washington cross the Delaware at Valley Forge or something? Or did he spend a bad w winter there? I can't remember. Ah, God, I should not open my mouth. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, it's great seeing you. I'm glad Round Nationals went well, and a lot of people walked away with prize money. So, woohoo! Good for them.
Woohoo. Yep.
Nice.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
I guess that's it for us. We will catch you all next week. Later.
Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.